Well, our defence and security analyst, Professor Michael Clark, is here with me. And Michael, the First Lady of Ukraine taking to a big stage there, so many global leaders. What's her overall aim in speaking to them in Davos?
Yes, I mean, Elaine is a great ambassadress in that respect because she represents presidents' ideas, and she's just right for Davos, where they don't talk so much about economics these days, but wider human issues. So it's all pretty good. The diplomatic community of Kiev have been out and about this week because this is the moment when they want to reinforce the backing of the Western world for the war in Ukraine, and particularly to get the equipment they need for the offensives which we know are going to begin on both sides round about the end of the winter, so whenever that turns out to be, beginning of April, end of March. This is the last time when the Ukrainians can get hold of the stuff they need from the West to really take the war to the Russians. So that's been the message, and I guess Elena's been delivering, as it were, the more human side of that message compared to the foreign minister and all of the others.
Yeah, when we were talking yesterday, we talked about time being of the essence in terms of Ukraine getting what it needs. We're halfway through winter. We're entering the next phase of this conflict. Why is this next phase so important, do you think?
It's important because of the weather, because when the weather eases, then we can expect this battlefront, which has been relatively static for the last couple of months, it'll start to become much more fluid because the Russians will turn up with a lot more troops, maybe 200,000 more troops, and rotate some of those that are there with a lot of equipment. And the Ukrainians also will bring more of their forces to the front line, again, they hope, with new equipment. So I think we'll see a lot of movement. And the point is that there's no point talking about the politics of this or negotiations or a ceasefire until these next battles have worked their way through. And a new outcome will be created somewhere between, let's say, March and April, May, June. And only then, when we see a new situation on the ground in June, will we then be able to talk about, well, where is the war going? What would the next phase be? And so, sadly, the only thing we can foresee in Ukraine for the next 2 or 3 months is more intense fighting.
In the last week, we've seen Vladimir Putin have a reshuffle of his commanders leading this war. Is that in preparation for the next phase? What's his thinking?
Yes, it is. It's part of internal politics in the Kremlin because he's got warlords. Putin's got warlords to think about. Prigozhin and Kadyrov are leading these forces, the Chechens in Kadyrov's case and the Wagner Group in Prigozhin's case. And the tail is beginning to wag the dog in terms of their ability to create things on the battlefield. And so the military, Shoigu, the defence minister, has tightened up his chain of command. They've demoted Sorovikin, who was the commander, and Gerasimov, the chief of all of the armed forces, is now in charge of the whole operation. They've tightened that up so that the warlords don't actually end up calling the shots. And today, only a few hours ago, Shoigu announced a series of military reforms, talking about creating the equivalent of about 12 new divisions, new special forces to do various things. I've just done a sort of quick tot-up of what he was talking about. It looks to me as if over 200,000 troops are being, as it were, created into new units. Now, they won't all turn up on the Ukrainian battlefield, but a fair number of them will. And again, this is Shoigu, the defence minister, grabbing hold of the reins of power in defence rather than let the warlords do it.
OK, Michael, thank you. Professor Michael Clark there with the latest on Ukraine.